Hello and welcome to another edition of the CEO1440 Show, where we talk about all things mortgage, maximizing your 1,440 minutes every single day. And hopefully at the end of the day, we give you some tips, some techniques, some tactics, some different things to think about to go out there and be a little bit more successful in your business. Got a gentleman here that I just recently met. Saw some stuff. We were in a cohort together. I said, it looks like this guy's doing some cool stuff, might be able to help the people inside of our community. Reached out. We had a great conversation. So here we are. Alex Hernandez, he's a loan officer out there in the trenches day in, day out. However, he's also building tech and sharing it with the world as a whole. So Alex, welcome.
What's up, man? I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much. Now, taking some time out of your day, man. It's a blessing to be here, and I'm excited to chat with you.
I just want to kind of just step back a little bit and just get the rundown of what you do. For those of you that are listening that may not know me, I'll give you my 1-minute commercial. Been doing this for 28 years here in the mortgage business. I have a 4-digit NMLS. I like to help loan officers, mortgage companies, different people do more business. I like to say that I help you get your poop in a group and then really just come up with strategies, unique things that you as an individual can do to do more business. And Alex likes to kind of do the same thing and is there in the trench. So Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll kind of take it from there and see where this thing goes.
Yeah. So I'm a loan officer. Like you mentioned, I've been originating for the last 7 years. And so when I first got into the business, rates were at 6%, and I had the opportunity to build my business in a market much similar that we're kind of in right now. And although it sucks in the moment, there's a lot of advantages when you build your business in a market like exactly we're in right now. Been originating for a while. I've seen all the craziness in the market, and in the last couple of years, I've been really focused on building technology to help loan officers like myself to really just get an edge on the marketplace and make more money while doing it, right? Quite frankly, we're doing our job to, of course, help other people get into homes, but we want to make more money while we're here, right? And so, so now really the way we got connected is through software. I've really loved building software, and it's very happy about what we built over the last little while and seeing the success that we've seen from loan officers all over the country utilizing this software.
Yeah, and I know when we talked last, you're constantly signing people up, and just you guys that know, like, this is not a sales pitch. That's not why we're here. This is not an infomercial. We're here to kind of talk about something that someone is doing, and there are so many little widgets and different things that you can do out there to differentiate yourself. And all of them probably work. Some maybe work a little bit better. I think what Alex has here is really cool. But just remember, it's about becoming unique in your marketplace. You can no longer go out and say you're a broker and you close loans fast. Like, that's not enough to get you business anymore. You've got to kind of have that next thing. And so I just want you to know you haven't listened to the first 4 minutes of an infomercial, because that's not what we're here to do. And I always write.
Yeah, we're here to talk strategy.
Completely different strategy. That's our webinar series that we're going to be doing that you can sign up for. That's just a joke. But awesome. So you're out there, you're originating. And you've built some software. A lot of people have built software apps. We have an app that we offer. What was kind of the I got you moment, or the, hey, I think I need to build this, I'm losing deals because of this? What kind of led you down the path?
Yeah. So I sat down one day outlining my business, and if you haven't done this yet as an originator, it's really good to look at your business as a timeline and say, okay, how do I, number one, get people to know, like, and trust me in the marketplace? Someone who has no clue what my name is and what I do for a living, all the way to the point that you get the loan funded. And of course, there's 100 steps from point A to point Z there. And it's important to have a clarity on what is that customer journey and what is it that, who's in charge of what part of that process. And that's very important. Very fundamentally, if you guys are originating, you want to sit down for an hour or two and just really get a 10,000 foot view of your business. So when I'm doing this exercise, I'm looking at my business model And what stood out wasn't what I was doing on the front end to acquire customers. It wasn't what my close rate was, my credit to app rate. None of that stuff really what stood out to me. What stood out to me and where the opportunity was for me, John, was I looked at my clients that I closed and I was like, why is it that year over year, I'm only converting 4 to 6% of my closed database to transact with me again? And then I looked at those customers and I said, how much money did I spend to acquire that customer the first time, right? And when you look at your business and if you have to continually to spend money to get people through your door and through your app, right? It's difficult to build a sustainable business and to be like you, John, and do this for 20 years. It's just difficult to do that. And so I was sitting down and I said, okay, well, the question here is how do I get more people who have already worked with me that would work with me again, but for whatever reason haven't yet? And what is that reason? So I went to those people, I went to my clients and I started asking them questions, right? And what it came down to was after all the going to battle for my customers and dealing with AUS and underwriting and conditions and negotiating rates, after all that, blood, sweat, and tears, the number one reason why people didn't go back with me again, and may surprise you, John, even after leaving me a 5-star review, is because they forgot. They simply forgot. Or they thought that I only did purchases, or they only thought, right? It was kind of a deviation of one of those things. It was either, hey, we forgot, or we didn't know that you could refinance us, or we didn't know that you could do investment loans. They just didn't know. And maybe that was a lack on my side of not educating my clients. But when I tell you that I do mortgage reviews annually, I'm doing all these things, and my pull-through rate, my repeat business rate was so low. And so what I created was I was looking for ways to be able to stay top of mind, deliver value, build trust and affinity with my past customers, but not in the way of like, hey, John, let's look at your loan. Let's see if we can refinance you. And so that's where Rate Update was born. It was born through everyone calling me and asking me, hey, John, what is going to happen with the interest rates? What do you think is going to happen? What is this, right? Is there an opportunity to refinance? So we built a software that automatically updates through a rate digest your past customers and your referral partners. And through this mechanism that we're delivering to our database, we're able to stay top of mind so people don't forget our names, right? And we can track who's interacting with this content. And that data piece has always been so important to me, John, because I wanted to take action on things that I think is going to give me the highest yield for my effort. And so I don't just want to shotgun a bunch of stuff out and not get any feedback in return. I want to be able to send things out to people and see what's successful and build off of that, and then hone in on the things that are actually working. And so that's through that trial and error process, I came up with the idea of, okay, everyone wants to know what's going on with interest rates, whether they're looking to buy or refi today, they still are infatuated with the idea of where the market's going. And so that is why I built Rate Update. And an advantage I have is that I'm using it in my business every single day. I'm building features for our product that I'm actually using in my own business every single day. And so really a big part of this podcast today in this episode is I want to talk about strategy. I want to talk about outbound strategy and how I'm getting more deals through my door today in this market than I did a year ago and even a year before that. And so that is why, I guess, long-winded answer of why we created and why we're at today.
No, I think that's really good. I actually have some notes here. This had nothing to do with this, but it was just notes on my desk about blind spots, and that everybody that's in business, we all lose more business on a day. Like over the course of a year, we'll lose more business than we ever gain. And just because we don't know about it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I had a call earlier today with a gentleman whose website's down. He actually pulled his website down because there were some problems with it. And I said, like, how is that priority number one that you don't get that back up and running? He's like, well, nobody comes to me because of my website. I'm like, well, when somebody that didn't find your website, you never know they didn't find your website. It's just one of the 10,000 loans that will happen today that didn't know about you. So one premise is there's a lot of business that we just lose. You have no idea. And unless you reach out to your closed clients periodically and ask them, why didn't you refinance with me? And then you get the answer. I actually had a family member that didn't do a loan with me once. It stuck with me. It was like 2002. And I reached out and I said, why didn't you do that? They're like, you seem so busy. I didn't want to bother you. Right. And it's a stupid reason.
It's painful. It's so painful.
It's because I didn't make myself available. I didn't let them know that this is what I was doing, and they didn't want to bother me with their little loan. So probably the same with your clients.
Here's the thing is too many of us are scared of rejection. And if you're in a sales role, you got to get over it. Like, you just got to get over it, guys. Like, I'm sorry if you're doing 1 or 2 loans a month and you're scared of being rejected, then you're never going to be able to break past that barrier to get to 8 or 10 loans a month. You're just not going to be able to do it. And so put yourself in those positions to ask those questions. Most of us don't want to ask the question because we're scared of the answer. But the answer is what's going to allow us to get better. And so, I can live with if I said, hey, John, why didn't you refinance with me again? And you said, you know what, Alex, you sucked. I didn't want to work with you again. That's the worst possible thing that could happen, right? But I can live with that. I would rather someone raise their hand and tell me, hey, I don't want to work with you anymore, versus the guy who just said, hey, I forgot. I am so sorry. I would have 10 out of 10 gone with you, Alex, but I just didn't know. I didn't want to bother you. Like, that's the kind of stuff that eats me inside. Whereas the people who say they don't want to work with me, that's just, that's water off a duck's back, So anyways, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. I just lost my mic. Okay, I'm back. No, it's definitely the business that we lose that was right there at our fingertips. We were so close. That's what hurts. It's when you rush it, 99 yards, you're on the 1 yard line and you fumble because, something dumb or a penalty or, whatever it is. So I want to back up just a little bit, and a couple of things that Alex had said in looking at your business. There's 2 kind of marketing terms that I just want to hit here. So, and you want you to kind of think about it. One is what they call a CAC. It's your cost to acquire a client. How much money is that? And then you have a lifetime value or an LTV. Us lending people think that that's loan to value. In the marketing world, that's a lifetime value. And anytime that you can get a second transaction from that or a third from a client, that lifetime value goes way up. And if you dial in your systems well enough, you can pay a lot more for leads. You can pay a lot more to get a client the first time if you have a certain level of certainty to know you're going to get them a second and third time. And that's why so many companies, there's a big behemoth here in the Metro Detroit area. They can spend a lot of money to get a client a first time because they know they're going to do a really good job of getting them a second time, maybe a third time, their friends and family, to run all of their stuff through a Rocket app. Or did I just say Rocket? Well, that's right. They know that they're going to be able to do that. So as a small business owner, if you're a loan officer, you're a small business owner, you're the CEO of a company of one, even if you work someplace else, you have to look at how much does it cost for you to acquire the client and what's the lifetime value going to be. And then what things can you put in your business to always lower the cost to acquire and increase the lifetime value. And I want you to think about your business at all times as the CEO of that business.
Yep. Absolutely. Beautifully
said. There's a bunch of stuff. So tell us a little bit about, you've been doing this. I see you where we follow each other on LinkedIn or follow or friends or whatever you are on LinkedIn, acquaintances.
Yeah.
We're friends on LinkedIn. That's what it's called. Well, it has a name. I mean, I think they're we're a first degree connection.
Hey, I was saying you and I are best friends on LinkedIn. That's what
I'm best friends with everybody on LinkedIn. I've got thousands of best friends. But beyond that, what was I going to say? You posted some stuff about where you're trying to go volume wise. Can we just get without being boastful, or kind of what are you closing today?
Yeah.
And how much of it would you attribute to this? I'm sure you've got real estate agents. What's the layout of your business? What did it looks like last month?
Yeah. So I did 5.2 million last month. I'm rounding down just a little bit. And that was a culmination of builder business, real estate business, refis from past customers, non-QM loans, refis from past customers. And so it's a culmination of a handful of sources. And so, yeah, and real estate agents are a very important part of my business, just as much as builder businesses, right? But specifically with the real estate agents, I'll tell you what I've been doing. Real estate agents are unique, right? Sometimes we hate them and sometimes we love them, and so and you definitely have to handle them with care. But understanding what a real estate agent wants is the cheat code to getting their business. And it's like almost getting the keys to the castle, right? And so helping a real estate agent to acquire customers, acquire listings, even though I'm not getting paid, and eventually having enough cachet that I get their entire business is something that I've specialized in over the last couple of years. And that is not how I started my business, John. My first year in the business was in 2017. I did $1.2 million loans the whole year. And it was because I thought that I was going to do something so unique and that I was going to completely bypass real estate agents and I was going to go direct to consumer. And that's something that you hear a lot of people talk about in this market and in our industry now. But you have to be able, if you want to build a sustainable business, you got to have relationships with real estate agents. You just have got to. And you have to be able to help them get what they want. And so last month we did 5.2 million. This month we've got about 5.1 that should go out depending if we get anything roll. So I project we'll do about 55 to 60 million this year in 2025. That's kind of where I'm projecting. We did about 45 to 46 million in 2024.
Hey, if you're here, it's because you understand that the world is changing at an alarming rate, and you understand that big data is going to dominate as we move forward. Either you're going to use it to grow your market share, or somebody's going to use it against you to grow theirs. If you want to dig a little bit deeper here, take a look at your own business, figure out and identify some key constraints, maybe some things that you could do a little bit differently to grow a little faster. Here's what I can tell you. After 27 years of doing this, helping well over 1,000 loan officers earn hundreds of millions of dollars in commissions, there are a couple of key constraints inside of your business. I don't know what they are right now. I just know that they exist. So if you're curious about this, let's get on a strategy call. Take 20, 30 minutes. You will walk away with one or two actionable items that you can do to do more business as you move forward. There'll be a link someplace here on the page. I look forward to personally meeting you. Okay. That gives me a good lay of the land. And you said something here that was interesting, and I could touch on the direct to consumer thing, but a lot of what needs to happen with real estate agents, in my opinion, we all want to go to them and tell them what we can do for them. They already, where you really can set yourself apart is finding those holes that they have in their business, the missing link, the things that they're not doing today, the business that they're losing. So they also lose way more business than they even know. And we do something inside of our community with a FinLocker product that we call the Fin Toolbox, where we're going out and saying, what do you do with that client that's 18 months out? You've got to have some mechanism for them to stay engaged with them. You can't just keep call them every 2 weeks to see if they're ready to see a property. You've got a way to stay in front of them, to dialogue, and to continue to do stuff. And I see this being something that could augment it, or even just something that you do independent of it. But it's staying relevant in front of those particular clients with something of value for the real estate agent, for the consumer, above and beyond, again, telling them that you're a broker and you can close fast.
Exactly. And I tend to look at my business as I'm a consultant. I look at their business model and I said, okay, John, you're a real estate agent. How long have you been an agent for? Let's look at your business at a 10,000 foot view. What do you do when you get a lead, and how do you follow up with that lead? And how, when you close the transaction, what are you doing with that lead after? Right? Like these are conversations that the average loan officer is not having with them, number one. And number two, most real estate agents, much like we're the CEOs of our business, they're the CEOs of theirs, and they don't even realize it. So by peeling back the curtain and helping them build a business plan and then say, cool, how can I place myself in your flow and in your business so that way I can help you convert these leads on the front end or on the back end, right? And so we say, okay, John, you've got a big book of business. What are you doing with those customers now that you've listed and sold and bought with them? And most of them say, I just call them every once in a while, right? It's much like most of the people you work with, John, too, and even myself, which is like, I haven't thought about that. I don't have an SOP, standard operating procedure for that part of my business. And I tell them, and when you look at the economics, you're like, okay, so is it fair to say that you could be losing 5 to 10 deals a year just because you're not focusing on this part of your business? If they have and they've been in the industry for 5 to 10 years, I can guarantee you they're losing 5 to 10 transactions a year. Well, if you're an agent and that's $8,000 per user, dude, that's almost $100,000 a year that they're completely missing out on. So when you can talk to your agents like that, understand their business and what they want, and you can place yourself in their business as a resource, as a tool, as a partner, it's very easy to get all of their business because they rely on me to help them execute their business model. Okay. And so that's where Rate Update comes in. One feature that we talked about last week is that with our software, we're sending out monthly rate digest to our consumers and our past customers and leads. And this is highlighting the 3-month trailing trend of rates, and that's dynamically changing. So it's up to date and fresh. And of course, that's on everyone's mind right now. More people are going to ask you, what are your rates, before they ask you, what are your fees, or before they ask you what loan programs you have. They're going to say, John, what are your rates? And what do you think rates are going to do? Right? So being able to give them this tool that they're going to interact with, and they're going to see my face, they're going to build trust with me. But here's an outbound strategy that we're putting into play with my business right now. And I want to talk about some of the numbers. I'm going to my real estate partners who I've already done this exercise with, and I say, hey, I got something for you. You've got 1,000 past clients or leads in your database, or you got 500 or even 50. Let's nurture them by sending them a co-branded rate digest with you and myself, right? Whether I did the loan form or not. Well, every single real estate agent that I've worked with said, absolutely, let's do it. Every single lead, right? Whether I did the loan or not, whether they pay cash or not. What this is doing for my business is now that it's opening up, number one, it's acquiring potential leads for me, John, at zero cost. And that, when we talk about CAC and loan to value, LTV, not loan to value, and you can say, hey, I'm acquiring these leads for nothing because my real estate partners are giving them to me because I'm helping them nurture them and convert them. Well, your CAC is unlimited, essentially, right? And so, yeah, there are costs behind the scenes, but in terms of, I'm not spending dollars to Zillow or Realtor.com to then acquire a low portion of those leads.
And that's a big thing. A lot of agents get trapped in the only place that a lender can help them is by providing a pre-approval, and then also by helping them with the Zillow spend or something like that. And right, so that's where the value cuts off, where as loan officers don't stop there. Even if you're providing pre-approvals and you're doing the Zillow spend, don't just let the leads die in your inbox. Take them the next step. Make sure that you have an SOP, right? Like, this is what's going to happen. A real estate agent, I understand you already do business with Jimmy over there. I just got a question. You guys got that shared lead spend. How do those convert if you don't get them on the phone right away? Oh, not so good. Well, is that impact you? Like, do you just like throwing that? Like, there's such a good way to sell this. And then having something really buttoned up that you can show somebody, well, here's what we do. It's a drip campaign. It's a text campaign. Here's what we're doing to engage people. We've got an open rate of, and this, you don't need to use anything that I offer, anything that Alex does. You just have to have something in place that has these mechanisms. Understand what their open rates are. Understand how many people get in there and begin to interact with it and start adding value, because the one person that I see out there as loan officers trying to do real estate business, there's a big behemoth that I don't think people see coming that I think is going to be a top 5 lender here in the next couple of years. And that's Zillow Home Loans. And they're getting people really early up in the funnel. So high up in the funnel, and they're nurturing them for years. And they're doing all of these little things, and they're just going to cannibalize your business. Agents are just going to end up giving them a percentage of the commission. And you've got to start thinking about, how do I compete with them today? And you can win by being better, more local, more personalized, and doing little things like this Yeah. And I even just the sheer number of people that I speak with that have a book of business that all they do is the pumpkin spice recipe. They got a Valentine's Day thing going out. They're going to hit them up with the 4th of July thing, maybe a Veterans Day. And
Mm-hmm.
like there's 5 emails that go out from their CRM and they all suck and
Yeah.
nobody reads any of them.
Yeah.
And then, oh no, I have
Yeah.
a closed
Mm-hmm.
client campaign. Yeah, one that
Here,
sucks.
yeah. Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. And it's important for us to put ourselves in the shoes of a client, okay? And here's a way that something that we might as loan officers understand, because we look at rates every day, we look at loan programs every day. We think what we have to offer is the best. That's good. We should think that. But when was the last time, John, that you thought about interest rates for your auto loan? You don't. You don't think about it, because if you don't need it, you don't think about it. It's not something that comes up every single day, right? And so, same thing with a mortgage. The buying cycle for someone that goes, okay, I think I want to buy a house. Okay, I'm ready to go. And then what happens? They land on some Zillow top of funnel, and they land up with a random agent and with a random LO who's paying for it, even though that was a past customer of yours. We have to be able to be top of mind and timely, because it is so difficult to know when someone's going to want to make that move. But if I just were to tell you every week, hey, John, I got the best business bank statement loan, you're not going to care. It's going to fall on deaf ears until you go, oh, I think I want to buy a house. Okay, what was that guy that was sending that thing to me? He was super cool, super nice, super good looking. Okay, I forgot his name, right? And then they end up somewhere else. And so anyways, that's why we need to have predictable systems in our business to give us the highest chance and probability of being able to be timely and top of mind for, our customers and leads.
100%. And I think that it's something that we have a delusion that we are. And I do sales coaching for different places. And it's really funny when I say, do you guys get calls from AEs? Like AEs at these wholesale places calling you to try and get, oh yeah, they're the worst. All they do is they feature dump with a product matrix at me. And right, it's this terrible experience. I don't take any of their calls. I hang up instantly. I'm like, are you doing anything differently than they are? Are you calling with the same beat up marketing sheet that your marketing team gave you? Right? They're sending out their DSCR flyer and email in bulk emails every Wednesday morning and chasing it with a cold call to you about sending them a deal. And they're like, well, not really. So think of if you get annoyed by all those AEs that call you trying to get you to send business with a crappy pitch, make sure you're not doing the same crappy pitch to your clients.
Exactly.
So you're out there, you're doing this, you're trying to grow your business, you're in the mix. When you reach out to, if you had a tool like this, and let's say it's easy to get agents that you've already done business with, have a relationship with, those are relatively easy to get them to trust you. What about for the agent that you've never done business with? Right? It's pretty risky to go out and start working with someone new, because you can blow up their whole, you could kill a deal that's maybe the only one they're closing this month, wreck their name, whatever. They don't like to make that change. What's your approach personally? Like, how do you reach out to them? Do you have a nurture sequence? Do you have something that you do to go after a cold agent? Maybe that somebody could take away, even if they don't
Yeah.
use, rate update or anything like that. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's important to know too, where you're at in your business. And so I want to delineate that. The more experience you have in your marketplace and the more social proof you have in your marketplace, it's easier, right? It's agents in my market know me, even if we've never done a deal together, because I've been around for how long I've been around and right? And so that's easier. So let me take a step back and come from the approach that I'm like, okay, I'm brand new into a market. I'm trying to break in, and these guys don't know me from anyone else. They don't know how good I am, how well I communicate, X, Y, and Z. So here's a strategy that I would put into play right now. And it can be a little black hatish, okay? So no one judge me here, but here's what I would do is I would go scrape online all of the emails of every single agent in the market. And I think it's really important to come up and don't just shotgun. I mean, too many people think that, okay, I'm going to send out 1,000 messages and I'm just going to hope I'm going to grab this low-hanging fruit. The problem is the people that do react to that, the agents that react well to that, typically aren't worth your time and energy anyways. So it's important. I call it the Dream 20. You've heard of this, of a Dream 100, where you need to sit down and identify who are the 20 agents that I want to work with. And you have to figure out what your box is. What are your requirements? Number one, I always start with production. Who's doing enough business? There's no reason for me to spend my time on agents who do one deal a year. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that at all. I'm just saying if I was a brand new LO into a brand new market with no trust or anything like that, I need to go after and spend my energy on agents that actually have business to give. Okay? So I might say I want agents that are doing at least $5 million a year to $15 million a year. When you start getting too high up on the list and you got these agents that are doing 25 to 50 million, those agents tend to have large teams. They tend to already have multiple relationships in place. So maybe that's also not the angle you want to go. You want to find that middle, okay? You go to an agent, and so once you've created your Dream 20, I put them into my system called Rate Update, and I start sending bi-weekly rate digest. And I don't do anything else for 60 days. Now, in terms of me trying to build a relationship with these agents. Then what I do is I go into the system and I see who's interacting with my emails the most. Data is the new gold. And like I mentioned earlier in this episode, I want to spend my time that gives me the highest chance of scoring. And so if you say a three-pointer is going to give you a 20% chance, but I'm going to have a 90% chance hitting a layup, I'm going to go for a layup almost every time, okay? And so I'm going to spend my time with the agents that are interacting with the content. And then I'm going to say, oh, John here opened up my email 15 times in the last 2 weeks. Well, why would that agent be opening the email? Number one, they're curious what the rates are. They're curious on how the market's going because they're going to take that information and regurgitate it to their clients, right? That's what agents do. They're going to go regurgitate it. Most agents are not going and studying what's happening with CPI and inflation. They're going to regurgitate what I'm giving them, okay? Well, then I'm going to call them. Hey, John, this is Alex. How you doing? We haven't met before. We haven't talked before, but I've been sending you these rate digest. Do you know what I'm talking about? And you're going to say, yeah, actually, yeah, I saw that. Great. Let me explain you what it is. And simply, I just want to introduce myself. I want to bring value to you and your business. And then you start asking qualifying questions. How are you getting your clients, John? How do you convert your clients? Where are they coming from? How much are you spending? You start asking questions and building a relationship. And so, Rome wasn't built in a day. No matter how much information that I have, it takes time. And I think most LOs underestimate how long it takes and how much effort it takes. But we also underestimate how often and frequent we need to be hitting the marketplace with information, okay? We're going to get sick of our messaging way quicker than John or the agent out that I'm reaching out to is going to get sick of me, okay? And it's important to know that. It's going to take longer than you think. It's going to be harder than you think. But if you stick to it, it'll be worth it. And if you constantly look at refining your process and focusing on people that can actually give you business back and reciprocate, then you're going to hit the nut, right? You're going to get opportunities. And so that's the exact plan that I would deploy today. If you told me, hey, you don't have any more business, you don't have any relationships, I'm doing that today. Can I give you one more? I'll tell you one more thing I'm doing.
We'll let you. You have permission.
Okay. I want to make sure I have permission. Okay. I'm gonna take that same list of agents that I got that I already scraped, and I'm gonna create a custom audience on Facebook. It's gonna be a retargeting campaign, and I'm gonna make a video in front of my computer or in front of a whiteboard, and I'm gonna talk about what I do. I'm gonna say, hey guys, my name is Alex, and I'm a loan officer. I specialize in X, and here's what you're gonna get with working with me. Now that's assuming I don't have any social proof yet. Now, if I have some social proof, if you're listening to this and you've done deals and you've got 5-star reviews, then my messaging is going to sound like this. Hey, John, my name is Alex. I've helped over 700 families in Southern Utah buy or sell a home. Okay. I've helped, and then I'm going to go into a specific scenario where either I've helped a customer that was a turned down deal by a different lender and say, I helped this customer who got turned down by another lender. We came in and we closed it in 2 weeks and saved their earnest money and their dreams of home ownership. Or I'm going to talk about how I helped an agent save commissions. And I helped them save $15,000 this month because I took a deal that their current lender denied, right? You start running a Facebook campaign, a retargeting campaign only to the agents in your community, and you can do that on Facebook. You're gonna start getting the social proof, even though you don't currently have it. So now I just hit you from two different angles, John. I hit you via email with my digest. I'm giving you value for free, and I'm gonna call you off of that. And you're also gonna be like, dude, I've been seeing your face on my Facebook page, man. You're everywhere. Well, they don't quite understand how Facebook works. They don't know that I did that on purpose. And so that is a method that I teach in our group, and something that you can do today and have it up and running by end of business today.
Yeah, I like the retargeting. I like the list. And one thing, just to kind of step back, sometimes you have to, right? Alex has been doing this a long time. He's going to scrape the 20 top agents or whatever in his marketplace. Thing number one, 5 million is in one area. 5 million is like 2 transactions in Hawaii, and 5 million is 70 transactions in Cleveland, Ohio. So just like look at your marketplace, and the 5 million is a bad bogey. Like if it's 50 transactions at 5, whatever, find somebody that's definitely in there. They're doing business month in, month out, whether that be 12, 13 closings. I think you want to get them doing enough business that they actually have leads coming in that you might be able to help. And I think that probably that mark is somewhere around, at least a closing a month. So if they're doing 12 for the year and your average loan amount is 500,000, like that would get them, 3 million. So that's thing number one. The scraping of the list, I think, is great. There's also different cool things you can do inside of LinkedIn, where you can go and look at agents inside of your area. A lot of you probably have local groups, first time home buyer group, first time investors Detroit. There's a bunch of different places that you can go and curate leads to find lists. Leads are never a problem for anybody in the world. It's converting those leads at either to make it profitable, right? To convert them at a point that's profitable, or to be able to convert them high enough that you're not just spending 24 hours a day calling on junk. So leads are never the problem. It's actually turning them into business. But I like that approach, going in, targeting them. And one other just suggestion I would make, and we do this where we encourage people to warm up their leads by going in and identifying, liking them across. If you come up with your dream 20, going in, liking their Instagram, liking their Facebook, every time they post something, engaging. That way, when you do make a cold call in 3 weeks, not only have they saw you sponsored on their feed, not only have they received emails, something like that from you, but they've also gotten that dopamine hit a whole bunch of times when you like their posts, because people post to get likes. So give them what they want. You hit across those things, you called, they may still tell you to go fly a kite, but you've heightened the chances that your call is going to actually get picked up. And that's all we can do, is hope that it gets picked up.
Absolutely. And I think we underestimate, or we either overestimate our ability to close these transactions too. And I mean, and guys, it's a long game. Our goal here is to be in the game and not fizzle out, right? I mean, so it's important to know that you're not going to have 100% hit rate, not with leads and not with real estate agents. I can tell you, as much success that I've had in my career, which I'm proud of, everyone doesn't want to work with me. Like, it just is what it is. And I'm okay with that, right? And I don't need to work with everyone. You only need to build a good business, a good sustainable business, 5 to 10 agents that send you all, and you're going to convert 30 to 40% of all their business, right? I mean, do the math. You can do $20 million a year with 5 or 6 agents. And that's not including your own efforts with your own lead gen. That's not including your past database. That's not including with builder business. So you can make a lot of money in our career with a handful of people. And sometimes we get overwhelmed because we're like, oh my gosh, there's 1,000 agents. Like, how am I going to reach out to them? You don't need 1,000. You don't want 1,000. And you will get to a point when you start identifying people. I'm like, I do not want to work with that person. I do not want that agent in my business anywhere, right? Those agents that want you to save every deal. Every deal is a rush. They shop you for their clients. You're like, what kind of crap is that, right? Those are people that are disqualified. I'm out. Sorry, man. Best of luck to you, right? Don't text them back. And so, it's hard when you don't have a lot of business. You're just like, I need something. Sure, get your something. But when you can get the wheels in motion, just you can ease up a little bit on that, and you really fit. It matters more in some cases. So
Yeah, we're in the problem solving business, and us ourselves have problems. And your hope through life, my whole goal for anybody that I talk to is that they constantly are upgrading to better problems. Right? Your life is never going to be void of problems. You just want to have bigger problems to solve. Maybe your problem is, what color Lambo do you buy? Right? Like, that's a problem. Somebody out there is contemplating that problem today. Other people have a problem of, it's the 13th. Mr. Cooper's called me 42 times. My mortgage payment is due. And good thing it's over the weekend. I get some grace. I don't have to have it there until Monday. They're both problems, and we all have them. So my hope for everybody listening is that every day you're upgrading your problems to being bigger ones that are better and less pressing. So one last thing, kind of here for you, and we'll wrap this up. If you were a brand new loan officer today, out there, you just got licensed, you're just getting started, and is there any piece of advice that you would say, whether it be mindset related, what's the first thing, or where should they be pouring in their time? Is it sales skills? Is it, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. You tell me, if you were getting started brand new today, NMLS number is 3,000,001. And, what's the first thing that you would tell them to do?
Yeah. Here, I'm going to tell you, what we do for a living is not easy. And so if anyone, and think about the millions of LOs that have left our industry since COVID, because they got into it thinking that they can just step into an easy job that's make a bunch of money. I mean, we all know that if you're either getting started or you've done this for any extended period of time, don't fool yourself. This will never get easier. It's not easy. You're dealing with real people and some of their most stressful moments of their life, building a house or buying a house. And so you got to look at it from that lens and say, okay, like that's okay. That's okay that it's hard. And the barrier to entry, it's good that it's hard, because that means we've got job security, because not everyone is willing to do what I'm willing to do. And it's important to have that mindset. Now, what makes our job hard is because you have to be a sales professional. You have to know how to overcome objections. You have to know how to communicate. You need to know how to resolve issues and de-escalate situations. These are all skills that I'm talking about. And something that I've done, looking at my business and modeling my business out, I look at it and say, okay, what are the different actions in my business that I need to have and do to be able to get more loans done? Okay. And so you say, okay, let's talk about sales for a minute. What are the sales skills and attributes that I need to obtain, if I don't currently have them, to become a better speaker, to be able to overcome objections, to better ask better questions, right? Cool. What does that look like? Write it down right now. And then say, okay, great, I got the deal. Well, I can't just be a smooth talking sales guy, because if I don't know how to originate the loan and understand income and understand how to put that puzzle together on the loan side, then I'm going to have a very short-lived career. And you've seen that, right? You've seen people be able to do one at a high level and not the other. I've always taken pride in my business that I've been able to do both. And the reason why is because I don't look at income calculations as a job to my LOA or my processor. That's my job. And I look at that as my responsibility as I'm putting my files in, and my obligation to my real estate partners when I say, hey, here's a pre-approval letter, because I've already reviewed their income, because I know how to read a pay stub. I know how to read their tax returns. Okay. That's a skill. Here's the cool thing though, John, is we all suck at something, and that's okay, because we can at least get better at it. And it's okay to suck just a little bit less every day. But what are the things that we're putting our time and energy into? Like, you think of a video game and you're honing in your skills and you're building up each skill. It's like, what path of skills do I need to obtain to get better at my job? Now, for some people that are listening to this, they're really good at they're more of the scientist, and they can put a deal together and they can structure it. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, you can be the best loan structurer in the world. If you don't know how to get deals through the door, you're going to go hungry. And just like the other side, you can be amazing at selling and getting deals through the door, but if every deal is a fallout or it's a pain, your real estate agents are not going to want to work with you anymore. So you have to have a clear understanding and reality check that you need both, that you gotta be both. So you need to write these skills down and say, okay, it's a Saturday afternoon. What should I be consuming? What should I be working on to get better at my craft? Now, I promise you, if you treat this job like a professional athlete treats their bodies and their skills when they're a basketball player, you're going to make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars doing what we do. And I don't know about you, but name another career that you can come step into and make that kind of money in that kind of time, right? There's not many. I'm sorry to tell you guys, there's not many. I've looked. And so anyway, so that's my advice, guys, really is to sit down, get a good idea of the skills that you have currently, the skills that you're short on. It's okay. We can work on it and we can get better.
Yeah, the mortgage business is all about obtaining leverage. And your skills, the more skills you have, the more leverage you have. And pretty much I used to believe that there were certain things that were inherent about people. And now, I mean, sales is just a whole bunch of micro tasks. It's a whole bunch of little skills put together that makes you good. The lending world is a whole bunch of simple skills when put together that make you good with one simple premise behind it. All of lending can be explained in 3 words. Risk equals rate. That's all of lending boils down to that equation. And people do business with people. So figure out how to work with people, and that risk equals rate. You've got lending nailed. Now there's 1,000 other little things that go in between there. Whoa, that was loud. But, this has been great. I think that it's super helpful. We will get some links back over inside of here someplace. If you've got questions for Alex, you want to just follow him on LinkedIn. I know he posts all the time. A lot of good stuff out there, little tidbits that you can take away. And if you've got any questions for me, kind of where you sit inside of your business, you want to maybe work on getting your poop in a group or figure out what's maybe the next 3 or 4 things that you need to do to go out there and move forward. And while I do coaching and I sell different products and I do different things, there is not a right and a wrong thing here. There's what works best for you. What are you going to execute on? And just make sure that when you go to bed tonight, you got 2 things. Either you're going to have a list of results or a list of excuses. Just make sure that you've got more results every single day. And do this long enough, you'll get pretty good at it. Maybe you'll even build some of your own software one day. So that's all I got. Alex, it was great having you on here. It's great getting to know you. I'm sure that this will continue. I like what you're doing there. I think it's cool. I'm rooting you on. And thank you for your time. If you're still here and you're watching this, you're probably getting something from our content. If so, maybe you know, or I'm sure you know, someone else that could also benefit. So if you could do us a solid, forward this, share it with your friends, other people that are like-minded that want help with simple solutions to grow their business. And if you want to do a little bit of a deeper dive someplace on here, there is a place to schedule a call with us to talk about your business and how we can grow it together. Look forward to hearing from you. Again, thank you for being here. Please do share.